All right, everybody, welcome back to Hook the Line. Today we're talking some more college basketball. First game on the slate for this upcoming Saturday. We've got Arkansas taking on Texas Tech in Dallas. Semi-neutral site, but we all know being in Texas who this is going to favor a little bit with the home crowd. Although Arkansas is a big basketball program, so that home crowd will travel over there to Dallas. Should be a really fun one. Arkansas coming off a big win against Louisville. Texas Tech, on the other hand, still looking for their first signature win. They played some teams close, got blown out by Purdue, obviously, but a good matchup against Illinois. They're looking for that win to put on their resume right now. It's just sitting at Wake Forest. So maybe this is it. We'll see. No spread out for this game yet, at least one that I could find. So we're just going to be talking through game previews, matchup previews of this game right here. Yusko, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is an interesting game. Obviously, you got Coach Cal and Acuff coming into the home of the Mavs in Dallas with JT Toppin and Tech. Who, yeah, I mean they got their they got their belt against our Boilermakers. We're in a game that they did not look great in, but those games sometimes can be outlier games. I mean, Arkansas lost to Duke recently. Obviously, Duke and Purdue are two really good teams, so it's tough to compare those games. But ever since then, I think it's these teams have kind of went in a better direction. Arkansas, you mentioned the big win over Louisville, which was huge. And then Texas Tech hasn't played anybody really good, but they've played really well defensively. They held LSU to 58. I mean, there's some others. They played Wyoming, but they're holding their opponents to under 75 points, which is good. It's all you can really do to. You're supposed to just handle who you can play. You can't really control your schedule, so they've done a good job of that. Played really well, really efficient. Since that loss to Purdue, they're first in the country in opponent defensive 3-point percentage, right? So they've turned a page, which I think is important for them, and it's important for a team that you and I had high hopes on coming into the season. Arkansas, I think they're just like one of those teams that's pretty unpredictable, to be honest with you. I'm curious how they handle SEC play. Because they lose to Duke, but then they turn around and they beat Louisville, who's a really good team. So we could get either version of them in this game. So it does make it hard to predict. Um, I think I'm gonna lean Tech here just because I think that they're due for the positive regression in this matchup, as opposed to Arkansas. They've played really well. They've done well on the offensive glass, defensive glass. Um, shot the ball well, forced their opponents to not shoot the ball well from deep. Um, so I'm going to lean to them. I think JT's done a really good job handling the interior. I mentioned Christian Anderson in the preseason. He's a good point guard to facilitate and get guys open for his teammates. I'm curious what their coach does schematically against Coach Cal, but I like them in this matchup specifically. But it should be tight, and I'll be on the lookout for what the spread actually comes out as because I think it should be close.
Yeah, no, and you mentioned Christian Anderson, huge game against LSU. He went off for 27 points, 8 assists, and then 5 steals, which I really look at as the big number there. I mean, obviously the points are huge, but the steals is something to look at against an Arkansas team that likes to play fast, likes to play quick, but also we've seen a little bit prone to turning the ball over when they get into that, hyperactive motion that they're doing where everything's just moving super fast. They've got a freshman point guard, so we'll see. Maybe he can turn them over. Also, rematch of an amazing Sweet 16 game last year. I don't know if you remember. I think this is the game, if I'm not mistaken, that JT Toppin put up video game numbers in. It was 85 to 83 in overtime in the Sweet 16 last year in March, and
Well,
Texas Tech did come out on top. So that'll be a fun thing to look out for, a little fun storyline for you there for how much these teams want to win this game a little bit. And Coach Cal obviously going to have his team ready to go. They're going to be fun. Arkansas
right.
looks a lot better this year than they did last year. Brazil is playing really well. Obviously, Darius Acuff is playing really well. Meleek Thomas is playing really well. So they've got some guys out there. But once again, it's kind of the SEC brand of basketball, fast, athletic, but you're gonna commit some turnovers, and against a really solid fundamental Texas Tech team, that could create a little bit of matchup problems there. I think it did as well in the tournament last year. So this should be a really fun one. And like you said, Texas Tech looking for, that signature win, positive regression there. And then Arkansas, their losses, Duke, Michigan State, really, really good losses to have on your resume. And those were close. I mean, Duke, you could argue like they could have beat that Duke team. Michigan State, I mean, both those teams have looked really, really good so far. So this should be a high level basketball game. But at the end of the day, I probably am going to trust the team with the best player on the floor, who is JT Toppin. So I do like Texas Tech in this one. I think it'll be really fun, really close. I think maybe if this was at Arkansas, I see Arkansas taking it, kind of what they did to Louisville there. But neutral site in Dallas, JT Toppin with that size, I'm not sure that Arkansas has the big men to really be able to go and compete, not get themselves into foul trouble, and be able to slow him down enough. Versus, if they were playing a team that's fast, likes to shoot, they're really good guarding the perimeter, but the inside does raise a couple of questions. So it's where they got beat with. I don't know. When you watch that Duke game, Cameron Boozer kind of took over that game, and I can
Yeah,
see JT Toppin doing a
right.
similar thing against this Arkansas team. So that's where my mindset is at right now. But yeah, gonna have Texas Tech. We'll just go ahead. Let's go ahead and make a spread, kind of what we've done before. It's kind of fun. So if I'm gonna make one, I'm gonna say it's gonna lay at -4.5 Texas Tech. Uh,
Mm.
Curious, yeah, maybe a little bit high there, but -4.5 Texas Tech. I think in Dallas, it gives them a little bit of a nod.
Yeah, I'm curious what the spread is because I think that Vegas won't give Tech a lot of credit just because of their turnout against better opponents like Purdue. So, after Arkansas beat Louisville, I could see them giving the nod to them a little bit more. So, like, I don't see this spread being outside two either way. Like, I could see it being Arkansas favored by two or Tech favored by two. Like, I think it's just really tight. And, um, yeah, I'm curious to see which way they take it, but I would definitely lean Tech.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what they decide, but this one's going to be fun this coming Saturday. So, 12 o'clock, kind of get the day started there with a really fun one against Arkansas, Texas Tech. Obviously, that rematch. So, should be fun.
Yes, sir.